Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information on the Portraya Wealth Group or to schedule your complimentary consultation, visit portrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
Grandpa, how you doing this weekend?
I am doing great, my friend. How are you?
I don't care about me. Talk to me, Papool.
It is, amazing. My son and daughter-in-law, Alex and Anna, had a beautiful, healthy baby boy last week. Archer is 8 pounds, 20.5 inches long.
A lot of baby.
And they did a great job. I got to be honest with you, Mark. This is probably the fourth happiest day of my life. When I got married to Les, Alex and Jared being born and this little boy.
Well, fifth, add me in there when first time we met.
Please.
Years ago.
You're so far behind that list, my friend. I like you, but not that much. And I got a bigger surprise, which I found out. And she does not have, my daughter-in-law does not have a middle name. Mm-hmm. They don't believe in her family. It is what it is. So they were just going to name him Archie Politarhos. So her mom and sister were with them when they delivered. And mother-in-law came out to us and told us, oh, congratulations, you're grandparents. Allison is her mom. And we were just beside ourselves with happiness. It's great. We had a chance to go in and see them, Alex and Anna and Archer. And I'm talking to the baby, and Alex they're cleaning them up and all that fun stuff. And I'm like, Archer, we call Archer, Archie. Right. And Anna's like, well, his middle name is George. Oh. And that just crushed me. I mean, I was just, oh my gosh. I can't even, so she's a brat for doing that to me. And I'll pay her back. But so we're ecstatic as a family. And Jared he said he was going to be the funkle.
Yeah.
I don't like kids type kid.
Right. Jared's not married, doesn't have any kids. Right. Always been like that. I'll high five the kid and see him in a week. But how's he doing?
He walked in when we were there with Alex and Anna, and Alex is holding his son. And Jared walks in and takes him. Says, give me the kid. And before Leslie or I got a chance to hold him. So that kid's really, Archer is really lucky. He has awesome. So much love. And his mom ladies, do not be mad at my daughter-in-law. Do not tell your daughters about this or your friends. She was sleeping and they woke her up at 25 after 4 and they said, oh my goodness, you dilated. You're good. Yeah. How about we try and get him to come out? Yeah. 3 minutes. She pushed twice and the baby was born.
If you actually listen hard across the great city of Delaware, you can hear mom screaming at the radio right now.
And the nurses were there, says, do not tell her girlfriend, Anna's girlfriend's having a baby in a month or so. She goes, do not tell her what happened. Because it was phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
It was, man. And Anna was, she's just a beast. She's just she's a lot like her mother-in-law, a lot like her mother. Yep. And we're lucky, my family has a lot of strong women. Mm-hmm. My mom, my 3 sisters, my 5 sister-in-laws, 6 sister-in-laws, kind of my brother's wife. Mm-hmm. Her moms are strong. And Anna fell right into that same thing. It's great. It's great. The first
grandkid for the Politarhos household. And you listen, I know Archie, but let's be honest, the real name is spoiled.
That's exactly right.
So wait, all right, let me ask you this, George Politarhos, 302-330-2166, portrayawealth.com to meet George, meet Jared, Achilles, the entire team from the Portraya Wealth Group. Did you immediately, after leaving the hospital, go home and update your estate plan, update your will to give everything to Archie now?
Oh, no, not going everything to Archie because he has to earn it.
Yes, sir.
But we have started, we're waiting for Social Security numbers. Mm-hmm. But we will definitely be starting his plan and not changing it for my wife and my boys, obviously. But Archie will be started a retirement plan, college planning immediately. Absolutely. And it's one of those life-changing events. Yeah. A birth, a death, an adoption, a divorce, a marriage makes you think about certain things. With this blessing that we have, I want to make sure that my grandson, our family is in a better place tomorrow. I can't promise him he's going to have Social Security. I can't promise him anything in 40, 50 years. But we can do things today to make sure that when he gets to that point, that he's in the right place, whether it's for college, to buy a house in 25 years when he gets married, or to start a retirement plan.
302-330-2166. The family that Archer is born into, he's going to be in 5th grade on the playground, giving out like retirement lessons and starting to teach financial plans. Now listen, for 2 cookies a week, I can help you set up a lunch plan. that can benefit you and your buddies. PetraeaWealth.com to begin these conversations. That's 100% right, George. These life-changing moments, all of these affect your overall plan. Celebrating the highs and the lows in life. 302-330-2166. And always online, again, PetraeaWealth.com. And a lot of this, you know, how is my finances? How's my retirement plan? It all has to do with the market. BlackRock is an investment company that manages over $8 trillion. They released a new report about creating a successful retirement. Some of these tips include delay taking Social Security for the higher benefit, delay retirement if needed, decrease risk, and use annuities. So, George, this is a very pro-market company. But is it surprising that they're recommending moves that are outside the risk of the market?
Well, not at all, because that's exactly what we do every day, Mark. When you come into the office at 501 Silverside Road, Suite 31 in Wilmington, and we sit down, we talk about diversification. We talk about how we need to have 3, 4, or even 5 reliable, dependable, and sustainable avenues of income. And what BlackRock is saying is what we do every day. Because when you sit down with me, folks, we're going to go over what your income is today, where it's coming from, where it's going to come from tomorrow. You know, or your 401k, your TSP and IRA, rental properties, where's the money going to come from? We're going to talk about taxes. We're going to talk about when to turn on Social Security. You don't necessarily turn on the day you retire. Sometimes you wait and delay it to your full retirement age, or if you're working past full retirement age, maybe you turn on while you're still working, but you need a plan to do that. And then obviously we talk about Medicare and all the fun things about expenses and taxes. So when we talk about that, that's exactly what BlackRock is saying, because you need to have some safety, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. You need to have some pension if you're lucky enough to, work for a school district, the federal government, Boeing, and have a pension. Great. Let's get that come in. But you still need to get big in retirement. So the investable funds that we manage for you, i.e. with BlackRock, so the markets go up, you pull from that. But what happens when the markets go down? You need to have a safety net. And that's what an annuity does. It gives you the safety. It starts with giving us a phone call at 302-330-2166 to schedule your no-cost, no-obligation meeting, because you need to know what you have, what it's doing, and where it's going to go. And if you're all in the stock market right now, that's not a real sound investment, in my personal opinion. We're now in the 5th or 6th day of this war in Israel. We have war raging in Europe. We have war raging in the Middle East. This is a scary time. Mm-hmm. Can you afford, here's a better question, can you afford to have a reduction of 10, 20, 25% of your retirement portfolio that's invested in the markets when you're ready to retire in 2 or 3 years? That's a question you need to ask yourself. You need to know what you have, where it's at, and really what's it going to do for you tomorrow. And that's when you come to see me, my team at Betrayal Wealth Group.
302-330-2166, PetraeaWealth.com. BlackRock said there, hey, one option could be delaying retirement if needed. For you and the families that you serve, is that kind of a last option, or is that always on the table?
In today's times, people have to be prepared. My job is to point out not the obvious, but the logical answers to your questions. A lot of times, Mark, people come in and they say, I'm going to retire in April, George. I'm like, great. Let's sit down. You have to have a plan before you do anything. There's no rash decisions. We run the numbers, and I'll tell them, you may want to retire in April, but looking at the numbers and the situation we're in, it might not be the right time to retire in April. So I might be the one telling them that you have to delay it a year or 6 months or whatever the case is. But we want to make sure you have the answers. This is not a DIY. You can't go into YouTube or Rumble and watch it and say, oh, I can do that, because you're not doing a redo here. When you retire, you should retire and do what you want to, how you want to, where you want to, and when you want to do it. But it all starts with having the information available and having a total picture. Mark, you and Gretchen work for different people. Mm-hmm. I'm blessed to have you as a co-host, and your wife does what she does. Mm-hmm. When their companies will sit there and give you your information about retirement, are they looking at what Gretchen has?
No, they don't care.
They don't care. They care about their obligations to give you this information, and they give you numbers. If you retire today, Mark, you'll have X, your 401k is Y. Have a great day. When you sit down with myself, we look at both you and Gretchen. We look at what your income is, what your 401k, what your TSP is. We look at Gretchen's 403b, her IRAs. We look at her income. We look at your expenses. We look about your daughter going to college. We put that information together, and that starts the plan. We look at Social Security. It's a question mark. A lot of people say, I turn on the day I retire. Maybe, maybe not. But how about what is expected or a possibility of occurring in 2033 with the reduction possibly of Social Security benefits up to 24%? All of our plans show that reduction taking place because you have to prepare for that. And guess what? If it happens, it's okay. We're ready for it. If it doesn't happen, that's better yet. Well, at least we're prepared. We have an upside. But you have to look at the total picture. And that's what's so important. The total picture, not the minimal picture that people are looking at.
302-330-2166. It's a complimentary portfolio x-ray from George Politarhos and the team at the Portray Wealth Group, where George is going to sit down with you, take a deep dive into your plan. It's no cost, it's no obligation. 302-330-2166. You mentioned college funds. How much have you already put into Archie's 529 college plan?
$1 million. No, we, like I said, waiting for Social Security. Leslie and I have already spoke, and we'll be starting that in probably 6 months. We'll be starting his retirement. And I'm not doing a 529. I don't believe in 529s. There's other ways to fund his college.
What are you a fan of?
Well, the reason I'm not a fan of 529s, they're great plans, folks. If you have them, it's not a bad thing. I don't want you to think that. But there's better ways to help fund college. Now, there have been some recent law changes with the Secure Act 2.0 about 529 plans. Previously and currently, a 529 plan, and you have it for Archer in this example, he gets to school and it's earmarked for second education, university. What happens if he doesn't want to go to college? Mm-hmm. Well, I can still use that money for another child, myself, a grandparent, an uncle. But if I don't, in the past, there's been tax complications. Now, there's some loopholes that we can convert that 529 to a Roth account for them. Okay, so that's a benefit for it. But how about this? When you go to college, and Mark, you have about 8 years for your daughter's going to college?
Oh, God.
Don't give or take, right?
Yes, sir.
You have to fill out a FAFSA form for college. Mm-hmm. And here's Archer. And Archer is a straight A student, active in church, community, all-around nice boy, good grades. And he has a 529 with, pick a number, $150,000 in. Now, next to him is John or Sue. And Sue has great grades, all-around good person, everything we just talked about. And she doesn't have a 529. Who do you think gets more money from the government, Archer or Sue?
Sue, exactly.
So they see that 529. And our job as parents and grandparents is to make sure that our children get as much money as possible. So by using an example, an indexed universal life product, an IUL life insurance product, we can use that like the Swiss Army knife. So for example, you pay a premium every month as you would make contributions to a 529. The child would have life insurance, God forbid, which will constantly build for him over time, but they build cash value. So now in 18 years, if Archer decides to go to college, maybe he doesn't want to go to college. Maybe he wants to be a plumber, electrician, a carpenter. Maybe he goes into the military. Maybe he gets an athletic scholarship, academic scholarship, so he doesn't need the money. He can then, if he goes to school, I can use the cash value to help pay for college, tax-free, and still have the policy in force. Or he can go and use that money to buy a new home. Or we can keep paying and use it as a pension. So there's lots of opportunities to use that money smarter to help benefit Archer further in the future. And that's what we're looking for. Opportunities.
It's the reason we call it Family First Retirement here with George Politarhos. The end goal is to take care of you and take care of the family. 302-330-2166, PortrayWealth.com. Good time to talk about the book. It's called Taking Care of Your Family, How to Properly Prepare for Retirement Without Taking Risks. And George, in this book that you wrote, it's not just about you, but it's also what got you and your family here to the Portray Wealth Group and your journey along the way and what your end goals are for the community.
You know, the reason I got involved in this, Mark, is really quite simple. It is for feeling failure as a young man. My mom and dad were great people, and they had made some mistakes in life. They didn't have any guidance. My father died after my older son, Alex, was born. We found out mom was virtually homeless. They had IRS tax liens, mortgage foreclosure, you name it. They had it. No savings, no retirement, nothing. what are you supposed to do as a family? I mean, we're raised as a tightly knit Greek family, and we did what our job was, always has been, and bred in us is take care of each other. So the 5 of us helped take care of my mom, our mom, for the next 20 years. And some paid more than others. I'll be honest with you. I was newly married, new home, new baby. I didn't have a lot to spare, but we took care of it, managed. To see the look on my mom's face, how she felt like a failure, but she wasn't, that is something you don't want to live with and see.
Yeah.
So the reason I got involved in this is I don't want another family to go through that. And that's what we do. We make sure that no matter what happens, your wife, your husband, your kids don't have to see that look in your face, and that you're okay to go forward. And I want you to be happy. I want you to be safe. And that's our goal. And that's why I started doing this. And you know what, Mark, talking about the book, why don't we, how about the next 5 people that call in, we give a copy of the book to after they come in for their meeting, and you can get a chance to read about my mom, read about what we do and how we do it and why we do this. Give us a call at 302-330-2166. And let's schedule that no cost, no obligation appointment. Sit down with us here, have a cup of coffee, and let's talk and see how things are. Let me give you a copy of my a book I wrote that I wrote along with Angie, and give you a little token of our appreciation for coming in.
302-330-2166. That initial consultation. Again, no cost, no obligation to sit down, have a conversation with George. And if you're a grandparent, bring your stories, because now George is going to want to compare stories now. PetraeaWealth.com to meet George and the entire team, see all the services they have to offer. All right, George, we are now in the 4th quarter of the year. That means it's RMD season, required minimum distributions. Christine Benz with Morningstar reminds us there are several changes regarding those RMDs this year that you need to be prepared for.
The other thing to know is that the penalty for missing an IRA RMD is decreasing to 25%. It had been 50% of the amount that you should have taken but didn't. So that's going down a little bit. And I always say, people love to hate their RMDs. Use your RMDs to improve your portfolio. So take a look back, look at your portfolio's asset allocation, compare it to whatever your target is, prune your RMDs from the securities that you wanted to trim otherwise. Use them as a way to make your portfolio a little bit better.
There's opportunities there with RMDs. Now, we talked about the Secure Act 2.0 just a few minutes ago. Also with this, they raised the age of required minimum distributions. 4 years ago, was 70.5 is when you had to take money out of those qualified accounts. And the reason they want RMDs, required minimum distribution, folks, is the government wants your money. They never got their tax dollars, so now they're going to take your tax dollars. With the second Secure Act, they raised it again from 72. This year it's 73. And it'll go up continuously till 2032 when it'll hit age 75 before you must take RMDs. Now, this is an opportunity, as she said, Mark, which is a great opportunity, because we get that chance to take our required minimum distributions off of things that maybe were too heavily invested if it's a managed fund, and put it, take away our exposure and put it someplace safer. I think with today's generation, people are now doing a lot of conversions with their RMDs and doing to a Roth. So for example, your qualified accounts are, pick a number, $500,000, and you need to pull out 4.5% this year. So you pull out your $30,000, whatever the number is. They take it, you pay the tax on it, so it's now tax already, and then we can put it into a Roth, a backdoor Roth. We can then sit there and move it to get tax-free wealth going, right? Continuous wealth. And more importantly, with the Roth accounts with this, by using your RMD, we now get something called generational wealth. Great thing, right?
Right.
Because they changed the way we could pass on our 401ks or IRAs. They took away the inherited IRA benefit of lasting your lifetime because they want their money. Now we get a chance to redo it, and I can leave this money to my grandson so he can say when I'm gone and he's 40 years old, he has this tax-free money coming to him with an RMD, with this Roth account we did, a backdoor, that Papu really helped me out. And that's how you use this. And you beat the government by their rules.
Right.
Real simple. But you need to know the rules. So when you come in, we're going to make sure you know when to take out the money and from where to take out the money. Now, if you're working and you're 73, You don't have to take money out of that account, that 401k you have, folks. Or if you have 4 annuities and managed funds that are qualified, you don't need to pull money out of each account, Mark. Did you know that? Mm-mm. Pick one. Let's take it out of the one that's not performing. Let's take it out of the one that you have the highest risk. Let's take it out of the one the allocations aren't fitting your criteria. And let's make it work for you. But it's with an education. Either go to Patria Wealth, Patria Wealth.com, or call us at 302-330-2166, and let's schedule that meeting. Let's schedule that chance to sit down and talk. Let's schedule that opportunity to see what you have, what it's doing, and where it's going.
And now that you're a grandpa, I can start making fun of you for not understanding technology. It is worth noting as well that you offer those Zoom consultations.
Yes. I work in every state in the nation, Mark. Did you know that? I'm in every state with the exception of Hawaii, Alaska, and New York.
Well, come on, guys. Y'all get it together. Hawaii, Alaska, New York.
I know. Hawaii's really nice. I was just there, and I'm telling you, I'd like to go back, but good Lord.
I got a client in Hawaii. I need to go check and go see him.
I'll be back in a week, dear. It's technology. And I think the COVID thing from 3 years ago, whatever the time frame was, it changed Americans' mentality.
Yep.
Better and worse. Maybe the better part is that we got a little more savvy with Zoom. We got a chance to use Teams, and we can actually sit there and be kind of like the Jetsons, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. We used to mock the Jetsons with George and Rosie, and they had a teleconference. Well, now we have that with Zoom. So I can talk to my customers in Texas, and we're sitting across like we're next to each other. Is it as good as being next across the table from each other? No, but it's great that we can do business, meet, talk, and chat. And we have that ability. We share it every day.
Investment advisory services are offered only through properly registered representatives of Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, which is not affiliated with Patria Wealth Group. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if George Politarhos is licensed in your state, please contact his office. George A. Politarhos is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and/or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through George A. Politarhos, NPN number 175000473.